How do you do? We here at Movies to Watch on a Rainy Afternoon feel it would be a little unkind to present the following picture without just a word of friendly warning. We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein meets the Space Monster, a film directed by an untalented hack who sought to create a terrible movie without reckoning upon the audience. It is one of the worst films ever made. I think it will scar you. It may break you. It might even result in deep hurting. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your brain to such suffering, now is your chance to, well, we warned you. After chance encounters with the Wolfman, Abbott, and Costello, it appears the Frankenstein monster decided it was time to make new acquaintances and ventured off in orbit only to meet the generically named Space Monster, a lackluster Halloween costume showcasing a vampire bat-like nose and decked out in seaweed. Turns out the Space Monster is actually a radiation-scarred mutation brought along with an alien invasion force led by a Martian Cleopatra princess and her right-hand man Dr. Nadir, an albino Shrek played by John Lovitz. After sending out their Golden Snitch satellite to survey an adequate area to begin their space invasion, they attempt to land on Earth, but not before having to evade elimination from one of NASA's rockets.
Destroy the missile, Nadir.
Yes, Princess. Focus full force field at 090 degrees, range 700.
Yeah, that's it, Ticket.
This guy is having way more fun watching the movie than we are. Simultaneously, Doctors Adam Steele and Karen Grant, NASA scientists, are eagerly anticipating an up-and-coming launch as they are driven to a press conference where the world will be introduced to Colonel Frank Saunders.
How are you doing, Miss Grant?
I feel nothing. Play a groovy driving song, please. Oh, look at that. That's neat. Look at that. For valet service courtesy of the NASA space program, this is how they treat their astronauts? Squeeze them in the back seat with everybody else because there's clearly no room up front? The government bankroll must be so low that they can't even afford to properly frame the driver. Oh, that explains it. Their research was never funded by NASA, but by NATPA.
Colonel, aren't you just a little concerned about making a trip of 49 million miles alone? And when you do get to Mars, do you still expect to be alone, or do you expect to find other life?
Well, I do expect to be crammed in the back of the shuttle with 3 other people, so...
Colonel, I've been covering the space program for quite a long time, yet prior to the day, I never even heard of you. How do you explain that?
I guess I'm the shy type.
That's it. Soak me in, folks. Doesn't hurt to stare and costs nothing to look. The conference is brought to a screeching halt when something goes awry with Colonel Frank, who is quickly rushed to a nearby lab and is actually revealed to be Colonel Frankenstein. Get it? Colonel Frank? Frankenstein? Yeah, that's about as witty as the writing in this movie gets.
Karen, get me the silica gel. Afraid we've still got a problem with the humidity in this atmosphere.
Sir, we accidentally replaced his brain with a baked potato. He has about 3 seconds to live. With Colonel Frank rebooted, he is now prepared for his intergalactic journey. Turns out that NASA transfer van on its days off also serves as an ice cream truck, stocked only with the finest Neapolitan freeze-dried astronaut ice cream. Why does this astronaut even need a helmet? He's a robot! At least it comes fully equipped with a salad bar sneeze guard. Dr. Nadir and his princess hang up their Christmas wreath, then tune into the space launch.
Yes, Princess. Focus full force field at 090 degrees, range 700.
We did it, Adam. We've proven again that science and the military can accomplish the impossible.
Right, like padding out this film's barely 15-minute runtime thus far with repeated footage. That's the same exact scene we already saw during the opening of this movie. The Martians mistake his shuttle for a missile, and without hesitation blast Colonel Frank out of the sky, but he slowly makes his way safely back down to Earth via his Erlenmeyer flask parachute. Every second of his exciting struggle is captured with what we can only assume is an extraterrestrial GoPro.
You fool! That obviously was not a missile, but a spaceship. If they have sighted us, all of our plans will be endangered.
It must be hard to actually watch anything on their computer screen, considering it's made entirely out of rippling construction paper. In order to cover their tracks and keep their presence unknown, Dr. Nadir prompts an unexpected Earth landing so they can pursue and destroy Colonel Frank, but find themselves stranded in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
International treaty. All space aliens land in Puerto Rico.
No kidding. How come?
How the hell do I know how come? The important question is, why does every Martian come equipped with oversized player pieces from the game board Sorry? Unfortunately for Frank, his fight training included throwing punches like a toddler, but still manages to get away after losing half his face. He then proceeds to go on a bloodthirsty rampage, flaunting the initial rejected marshmallow eye patch wearing Harvey Dent Two-Face design. I guess I'd be pretty upset too if I had leeches stuck to my nipples. Oh man. My Frankenstein mask wouldn't work at all if I wanted to dress up like the monster from this film. Where's that Frankenstein meets the space monster costume I had lying around? Oh, thank you. Where's the rest of it? More armed Martians are sent out after Frank, but first they have to round up their fallen comrade.
This is so embarrassing. I hope nobody's watching us.
We're in Frankenstein meets the space monster. Of course no one's watching us.
What are your orders, Princess? Shall we call in the rest of the patrols and take off?
We cannot. We must commence Phase 2 immediately.
Wait a minute. What the hell was Phase 1? Everything is made abundantly clear when Dr. Nadir reveals they have traveled light years from their home planet after an atomic war wiped out the majority of their population.
We are extinct as a race, unless, of course, we can find some good breeding stock and repopulate our planet.
Ah, yes, of course. Phase 1 is breeding. Phase 1 is always breeding. With Frankenstein now on the loose, murdering innocent civilians, Steele and Grant take it upon themselves to hunt him down. But not before Frank interrupts a gentleman mid-rock chopping, whose immediate reaction to encountering an unarmed human that is clearly hurt is to attack them with a machete.
Let me know when anything more comes in. Right. They found the capsule in Puerto Rico. There was no one in it. We've also gotten reports that there was some violence in the area by someone who they said was wearing something that looked like a spacesuit.
There's violence in Puerto Rico? Call NASA. Did you see me playing in the water? This is fun. We're definitely in Puerto Rico. Who the hell are you and why are you using my towel? Commenced to Phase 1. Guys in suits, call NASA! Hot on his trail, Steele and Grant are flown to Puerto Rico, hoping to find Frank before he harms anyone else and commits another fashion faux pas beyond his cosmic corset.
As you remember, we found the car in the trees, parked, apparently unmolested. Picnickers were over here. But the most interesting thing we found was over here.
Could you go back to the part about the car being unmolested?
Dr. Steele, I'd like you to explain this to me.
Well, you found old white dog poop. Good job. Film padding rears its ugly head as a romantic love song pertaining to none of the lead characters is played out in its entirety as Grant and Steele travel through the streets of Puerto Rico.
Heart would grow cold without you, dear. Need you, need. Oh, oh, oh.
Try to remember where we parked.
In the puddle?
Yes, in the puddle. They find Frank hiding out in a cave, and then proceed to jump him like a car battery made out of meatloaf. Completely abandoning their search for Frank, the Martians crash a swingin' pool party, attended by funky and far-out close-up shots of butts. Burt Lancaster as the swimmer shows up in a cameo, but is blasted before he can belly flop into the deep end. Keep moving along here. Let's not slow down the breakneck pace of this movie. Dr. Grant searches for assistance to aid the revival of Frank, but is kidnapped by the Martians as well and brought back to their ship. I thought this movie was called Frankenstein Meets the Space Monster, not Random NASA Scientist Meets the Space Monster, and is clawed at with foam fingertips through a spaceship jail cell, but I guess that probably wouldn't have fit on the marquee.
Alert all local forces, Puerto Rico, for Operation Area San Juan. They're asking us for full military support.
When a pool party in Puerto Rico is interrupted, send the army. Dr. Steele completely rejuvenates Frank, but then abandons him, leading to a capture by the Martians. Steele takes off on a scooter, presumably because he doesn't want to be in this movie anymore, and will meet us in a different, better movie. Hell, not even the US Air Force wished to participate in this film any further.
Listen, I really don't want to go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, me neither. I've got birthday presents to wrap for my nephew. I'm out. A foggy field, some helicopters. Trust us, you're in the same movie here. We wouldn't pad out our finale with stock footage and issue government-approved pilot helmets made entirely out of soccer balls. Oh no! They're bombing Epcot!
Cease fire! Cease fire!
They weren't firing anyway, just jabbing at anthills with sticks. With 5 minutes left to go, Frankenstein finally meets the space monster, but their anticlimactic fight scene is obscured by smoke and awkward angles. Frankenstein eventually vaporizes his foe with a laser-blasting pacifier, but the leftover stock footage gets the upper hand and edits itself into a frenetic explosion, subsequently ending the film. Well, now that I've got my Frankenstein costume ready, let's see who I can go out and meet. Hey, how's it going? Oh, hey guys. Big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later. Listen, the checks you've been sending me, they're not enough.
His instinct would be to try to connect with his master control. Of course, we don't know how much damage has been done to the physical machinery, but he wouldn't know where to go. He might wander for days, mobile but aimless.